episode 35 here of the Bullpen. We are back after a long hiatus. I think it's been probably close to 2 months now since we last podcasted, but obviously the summer gets crazy. Future games, Wisconsin State games, Illinois State games. I mean, we had so much going on that I think it almost would have been impossible for us to podcast with just how much we had going on earlier in the weeks. But, I mean, how are you guys doing? I feel like we haven't talked like this in a while, so how you guys been?
I mean, this is kind of our time, not to breathe. Well, I guess you can say that. Like, this is definitely by no means an off period, but this is definitely less than, what we were doing in the summer. I mean, the summer's an absolute grind, so it's kind of nice to take a breath and be like, all right, we made it through that, and kind of just settle in for the fall. But no, it's all good.
Get in there, Tyler. What do you got? How have you been?
Good. I mean, I feel like we're burying the lead a little bit. Gav, we haven't talked, but you had like some big stuff happening over the break. I mean, this guy, gets engaged, and you celebrated a birthday Monday. I mean, this is the start of the show right here.
I didn't know that. That was this Monday of this week?
Yeah.
Yep, 26 on Monday.
Yeah, lead with the birthday. Don't lead with the engagement. That a boy.
Well, that's what yeah. But, no, it was weird. Yeah, obviously 26 isn't that old, but it just kind of feels weird. Like, it feels like sometimes you're like, man, I was just like 16 last week. It feels like sometimes, so it is weird. But, yeah, got engaged, I think about a month ago now, or over a month ago. So, yeah, it was cool. Long time coming. I mean, I think when you guys both got engaged, that was like a week apart. Drew was like, Gaz kind of got the pressure on.
It's like a
now
month,
to
a month or two maybe.
Oh, was it really a month or two?
Yeah, I mean, but we were waiting on you, so
yeah,
glad you caught up.
I think I was 6 months after. So yeah,
At least
no, it was exciting.
Travis Kelce, that's good.
Yeah, good point.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, you really did have the pressure put on you though. By those two guys. And the fact that we have three guys on this podcast who are all engaged at the same time is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But happy for all three of you. Happy for you, Gav.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So.
When you guys were talking about it and you were like, yeah, leading up to it, I was all nervous and I just didn't understand. I'm like, you guys are like, come on, it's not that big of a deal. But literally like 5 to 10 minutes before and then leading up to it, I'm like, this is like the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. So you just want to make sure you do it right. So I think that was like the toughest thing for me that made it so nervous. Like just a big moment. So, but it was
can't
cool.
mess it up for the fiance. But congrats.
Like that photographer there, like
that. Yes, yeah. That may have.
For sure.
Having her there made me a little more nervous too. So.
Well, we should also put this into perspective. Like, me and Hammett did ours locally. You went to New York City and had to, coordinate a photographer for that. So I can't even imagine what the type of, like, gymnastics your brain was doing, just trying to get all that figured out. Like, me and Hammett kind of had it a lot easier in that sense where, we both stayed around here, but you went on a, vacation and did it, which is nuts, but obviously happy for you and Diana.
The planning was pretty easy, actually. As crazy as that sounds, it wasn't too bad. She kind of did a lot of it for us, the photographer, so it really wasn't too bad. But
I outside of the engagement stuff, I feel like I'm like Hammett. The summer, it's full go. We're all over the place, whether it's tournaments, events, doing post-event stuff. Honestly, just the transition from the high school season into the summer, too, just makes it crazy with kind of finishing up all of our high school stuff with the All-States and Players of the Year and all the different things there. But I am not in mid-season form when it comes to a podcast. Getting on here, I feel like I haven't done it in years. So we'll see how today goes. But I'm excited to get back and talk about some baseball, Gavin, and especially some of the stuff that we haven't talked about here over the last month, 2 months. And I know in these future episodes that we'll have after this one, like, we have a lot of stuff we still need to catch up on, right? And talk about, whether it's the draft, whether it's the state games. So we should have tons, of news and nuggets coming out on everything Illinois and high school baseball.
Yeah, I feel like the past month has actually had a lot of baseball news too that I kind of wanted to talk about, whether it's, local guys getting pulled up to the big leagues, Cubs news, just like random cool nuggets that's happened that have come across my desk over the past month or so. So, I mean, do you guys have anything that you wanted to mention? Any news from around the league?
I can lead this off. It was kind of like a running bit in the winter when the Cubs made this huge move to trade for a guy by the name of Kyle Tucker. And, Drew had his thoughts on the entire thing. And I would just love to know, with Kyle Tucker kind of being injured, not playing well, I would love to know Drew's thoughts on Kyle Tucker.
On Kyle Tucker? It seems like he's hurt. That's what I was hearing.
And maybe the Cubs as a whole, as we sit here on August 27th, I just, would love to hear your thoughts.
They're exceeding expectations, I would say, for what I was thinking going into the year, especially with losing Justin Steele. Like, pretty remarkable. And Imanaga, I know he's back now, but for them to have the record that they have, they easily could be winning this division. The Brewers are just playing out of their tail, for a lack of a better term. So, kudos to the Brewers. That's really impressive stuff. I would think a lot of organizations across the league would kind of be keying into, what they're doing from a player development standpoint and player acquisition and the draft. Really, really impressive. And I know we kind of have a front row seat to some of it, just with Vinny Rottino, our Wisconsin director. He's really tied into the Brewers. That kind of keeps me, looking at them with a close eye. But no, Cubs are playing well. If Kyle Tucker, if he was hurt, they made the right decision sitting him a little bit, because it looks like he came back and was, left off or started right back up, kind of where he started the year, which was just tearing it up. So we'll see. Anything can happen in the postseason. They got to keep, playing good baseball and stay healthy. But this Owen Cassey guy that they've had that come up and kind of light a fire under the team and sort of right the ship for PCA not playing, amazing and coming back down to earth a little bit. So we'll see. Hey, they have a chance to make a run. It's coming to postseason here around the corner. I'm excited. It's Chicago needs this. We need some playoffs in our sports environment here in the city. That's what I got.
That's a great call.
Sorry. Most of their games are against teams under 500 to finish the year out. So people are thinking, potential run. I don't know. I can see it. It seems like they're playing some good ball lately. I know they lost last night. We're recording on Wednesday, but we'll see.
And no matter what, if you get into the playoffs, you're playing really good teams. Whether you're the 1 seed, the 4 seed, you win the division, home field, all that stuff, it definitely matters. But just get into the dance, be playing well, be healthy, and anything can happen.
Who was the team a few years ago that made it as a wild card? Was it
Arizona?
Diamondbacks. Yeah. And then they went all the way to the World Series. Yeah.
And
the Cubs, you just want to get hot, middle of September, really. You don't want to peak now. It's kind of the thing I'm watching with the Brewers, not to crap on them by any means, but it's you're playing your best ball right now, but when it gets to late September, early October, are you still going to be setting the world on fire? Maybe they will, because I'm convinced they have devil magic within that franchise, but I'm just speaking as the lone guy on this podcast whose franchise is a joke. So
they're playing all right. They're above 500.
No, we're done. They got me to football season, so I guess that's all I can really ask for. It's usually never that way, but this isn't a sob story about me. I wanted to say, though, I think it's fun when the Cubs are in the playoffs around here, just since I've been living out here. I feel like there's just a different buzz with Cubs, anything Cubs related out here, which I kind of live closer to the White Sox stadium, funny enough, but obviously the White Sox are a joke as well. So.
Tons of buzz. I know Gavin wants to get in here too with something, but tons of buzz with the Cubs when they make, the postseason, but just wait. If you ever get a decent Bears season, wait for the buzz, because that's some fun stuff too. But go ahead, Gavin.
No, just on Kyle Tucker quick. I was watching the game. I think it was in L.A. I think it was the L.A. series when he finally came back. I think it was his first game back from sitting out for those 3 games or whatever they had him sit for, and he homered. I think it was his first at bat too. And just the look of relief on his face to get out of that slump and kind of get back into it. I think he actually had either it was that game he had the 2-home-run game, or maybe the day after he had like a two-homer game. And I think he's been kind of doing well ever since for the most part. So that you could just tell it was like a big sigh of relief to get that out of the way for him. So that was good to see.
Hey, that Owen Cassidy kid too, just a little nugget. He was a Super 60 guy.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. I remember watching him get loose in the cage, actually. Yeah. It was one of the better frames at the event, and it was loose and electric in the cage. So kind of really cool to see his story and him just kind of tear through the minor leagues, it seemed like.
Well, he was the first Canadian to make their MLB debut in Canada when they were up there in Toronto. So that was cool, too.
I wonder if they planned that out that way. A little savviness by the Cubs if they did.
I'm sure it helped.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was definitely part of it. But
well, one thing I wanted to get in on, which I thought was cool just being in the Bloomington area, Normal West grad McCade Brown made his MLB debut the other day with the Rockies against Paul Skeens. In that game, some Central Illinois flavor. The second base umpire is from Peoria, played at Illinois Wesleyan, Alex Tosi. And then the Pirates catching coach is a Normal West grad, Jordan Comadena is his name. And then obviously a lot of Normal West fans, and Coach Hawk was there. It was just a cool kind of Central Illinois flavor going on at that game.
Yeah, Jordan Comadena. He had some history, I think, at Parkland and at Purdue as well. I knew him a little bit. He coached at Purdue. That is cool, though. Yeah. And McCade Brown, you want to talk about kind of like tearing up the minor leagues. The amount of strikeouts per innings pitched that guy had coming up through Double-A and Single-A this year and getting the call-up, really cool to see. So hopefully he sticks or gets an ample opportunity up there in the big leagues.
Well, the week before, he was named the Eastern League Pitcher of the Week. I believe it's a Double-A league, but he threw 6 innings, struck out 8, only allowed 1 hit, no runs, no hits. And then got pulled up.
We used to run a Gurney preseason ID in the wintertime up at a facility up there, pretty small facility, but that was the first time we had Quinn Priester at a showcase, was the Gurney preseason ID, and it wasn't the same year, but a following year around, whether it was a year before Quinn or the year after, McCade Brown was there as well. Drove up from Normal all the way up basically to Wisconsin. I remember him being a loose, long-levered, he was a sophomore at the time, I want to say. He was 84, 86, but you could dream on that, for days. So just really, really cool to see. And when you do this long enough and you remember a guy as a sophomore, and now you see him almost 10 years down the road and he's making his big league debut, it makes this job really, really cool. And the longer I've been doing it, the more guys, that continue to kind of make the big leagues or make a really strong impression for an organization.
One more cool nugget in that game too, and this is your guys' area, but with the Rockies, so Ryan Ritter, he didn't play in that game, but he's playing middle infield for them this year. And I was looking up his stats. He's hitting .256 on the year now, with a homer and 17 RBIs. So just another cool little Illinois nugget in there from that game. But another guy from Illinois that's doing well in the bigs and up in the bigs, which is cool.
And that was a guy that just continued to get better as he got older, Gavin. Wasn't the most highly touted prospect when he was a freshman, sophomore. Wasn't in the top 10 of our rankings, maybe ever. And just continued to get better, continued to get stronger. His tools ticked up. He could always pick it, always had actions, but really started to drive the baseball. So cool stuff out of Illinois here.
Well, I got a couple more for you, Drew. So you mentioned Quinn Priester. On the season, he is 11-2 for the Brewers. 128 innings pitched, a 3.44 ERA, 104 strikeouts, 45 walks. His .846 winning percentage leads the MLB. And on August 4th, he extended his win streak to 10, which tied the Brewers' franchise record for most wins in a row for a pitcher. So really good stuff there for Priester.
That's awesome. I would love to see if those wins correlate to run support. Does he get way more run support than somebody else? I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, that's crazy. And the history of the Brewers, he's
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
The last guy to do it, I think, was in '97. I'm kind
they've
of
had
pulling
some good
that.
arms. Ben
Yeah.
Sheets, and
Yeah.
they've had a ton of good arms.
And Caleb Durbin, same guy or same team, Brewers, hitting 249 on the year with 8 homers, 44 RBIs, 20 doubles. Another guy from Illinois just doing it.
Yeah, Lake Forest. So once again, another guy not highly touted and just worked his tail off.
And,
We
yeah.
are getting close to September here, Gav. You got any more nuggets though?
One
before
last
I-
guy.
Yeah.
Sorry. Jacob Junis from Rock Falls. He's a reliever for the Guardians. 54 innings this year, 40 strikeouts, 17 walks, and a 2.96 ERA. So
Nice.
that's the last thing I
He's
got.
been around for a little while. I don't know how much he's been in the big leagues and like back and forth, but I know he was with the Royals a couple of years ago. But you said a 2-something ERA?
2.96, yep.
I mean, that's dealing if you're under a 3 in the big leagues. Well, good stuff. I love it too. All those guys are from all different areas. Like you mentioned a normal West guy. You mentioned, Lake Forest, Quinn Priester at Cary Grove, Caleb Durbin, Lake Forest, Ryan Ritter, Lincoln Way East. Like they're just all Rock Falls. I mean, really, really cool stuff. I know you guys were talking about it before the podcast. You're getting fired up. You're almost into the fall here. You got some NFL and college football starting up. We have some
Yes.
opinions on our favorite college football shows. We'll keep that for off air. But yeah, what do you got with that, Gavin?
I got a draft, fantasy football draft on Sunday, and just not really that anybody cares, but my fantasy league, we've typically done like a Monday or Tuesday night draft, which is kind of lame. But this year we all decided to do a Sunday night draft this weekend. On what is this? Is this Labor Day weekend coming up? So like a Sunday night draft on Labor Day weekend. I don't know. It's just a good way to kind of draft a league, which I'm fired up about. But I've been doing some research this week, feeling pretty good about what I got. So hopefully I can get a solid pick spot, and we'll see what I can do.
Bears defense 1-1.
No, I'll go Caleb. Caleb 1-1.
Yeah, I'm torn about like what to do about Bears offensive players, especially like tight end. Like how involved is that Colston Loveland guy going to be? Like, is he a game changer? There's some tough questions.
I think Loveland could be a sneaky, really good tight end. I think him and Tyler Warren are definitely the two rookie tight ends that I don't know. I kind of like getting rookies towards the end of the draft just because they have that kind of pop-off potential towards the end of the year. But I feel like Loveland could potentially be Caleb's guy in the red zone.
Luther Burden's going to be a sneaky dog. He's going to be really good, I think.
I hope so, because I loved what I saw in that one preseason game. Somebody that's willing to get in there and just lay some blocks. Like, that's how you get on the
They were
field.
talking about.
Yeah.
He bought in on that. Like, he wasn't doing that in college, and now he's just all in on Ben Johnson.
Well, I loved it, and I love at least everything I'm seeing in the preseason, but that's always been the case for the Bears. I get super excited in the offseason, and everything in the regular season's a letdown, so we'll see what happens. But definitely a little bullish on the Bears.
Yeah, and I mean college football this weekend too. I'm pumped for that. Tyler's pampered getting to be a Penn State football fan and always seeing a good football team. That's probably the best way to put it.
Wow.
As a
always seen a good football team.
I mean, every year
I lived through the Sandusky sanctions, Gavin. It was not always sunshine and rainbows being a Penn State fan, especially growing up in Dayton, Ohio, which is Buckeye country. That was basically not ever fun.
I'm
so.
guessing you kept it to yourself that you were a Penn State fan.
No, not at all, but
I might have.
I'm proud. Yeah.
I mean, during those years, I would have kept that to myself for sure.
No, it was tough, but pampered's definitely a word I wouldn't use. But
as the three of us are from Illinois, I know Hammett's a Northwestern guy. Drew, I don't know who your college football team is.
That's why I'm really not like a huge college football guy. Okay. I've never really had that team. So I mean, tough. I'll watch it. I'll watch the big games, but I don't have like the diehard, bleeding for Penn State or for Northwestern or anything like that. I'm a Big Ten guy growing up in the Midwest, but that's really all I got.
And I feel like it's tough as Illinois people to have like a diehard football team because it's never really been that way here in Illinois. So like my point being,
I feel like
having
if you
Illinois there
don't,
this year is exciting for the
yeah.
state just to have someone to root for like that. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like if you don't live in like the Chicagoland area, it's what you're saying because I feel like everybody in Chicago, since I've moved out here, like I see so much Notre Dame stuff. Like,
Oh, that's true.
so I feel like the people who live in like the Chicagoland area are all huge Notre Dame fans. But like, if you grew up in like Central or Southern Illinois, like maybe in Southern Illinois you're a Mizzou guy. But yeah, I feel like it's tough. Like, it's not really like a college football state necessarily.
All my uncles are diehard Illinois, so I would lean that way. And I've been to some games and stuff like that, but not when they were all that respectable. So, just Illinois in general, though, love what they're doing with all their athletics. Basketball, football, baseball's been really solid. Obviously, their golf, and I know there's other sports too. So yeah, I'll probably lock in on Illinois a little bit this year, Gavin, see how they do. And is their quarterback still at Kyle?
Yeah, Luke
Oh, yeah, I'm
Altmaier.
thinking of the wrong guy then.
Yeah, this is his second year, maybe third year with Illinois now. He came from
Okay.
Ole Miss.
Okay.
He's a solid quarterback. They're running backs from Gibson City, which is Aiden. I think it's Aiden Lafferty,
Love
which is
that.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Well,
Do
do we
you
want
guys
to
have
get
anything
into some
else?
stuff here?
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna mention like state games commits, just because we've actually had quite a few come through so far. 33 commitments from the state games, and this was as of yesterday, maybe this morning or something, or last night. Some kids announced that we don't have tracked yet, but over 30 commitments. And shout out to Lewis and Lincoln Land this year so far. They have the most commitments from the event, each with 4, and then Bradley trails right behind them right now with 3. And those 3 Illinois guys going to Bradley are Adam Swanson, Connor McKay, and Joe Kelly. So cool stuff there.
Yeah, all three of
Gav,
those
did we ever
guys-
get a?
No, go ahead, Tyler.
Sorry, did we ever get a final? So who was the top winner last year? Was it Lakeland?
It was Lakeland.
From
I don't have the number,
Yeah.
but it was. I believe it was Lakeland. They had 7.
I think the
or 8
cool
maybe.
thing, yeah, I think the cool thing about what you just said is like the dichotomy between the schools, right? Like you got a Lewis in there, a Division II program. You got Lincoln Land, a JUCO, and then you got Bradley right behind him, a Division I. So to me, I think that's just cool. Just hearing that, like the different pockets of college baseball that are shopping at our state games, basically. So yeah.
That's why we do the state games, right? Because like our future games is our future games, and we try to make the state games that for the state of Illinois, but like obviously on a bigger scale and like a little bit for everybody. You know, we don't want it to just be Power 4 guys. We want it to be
Totally.
if you're a college baseball caliber player, we want you there, and whatever level that may be. So I think it's really cool to see that kind of play out.
And one thing that I've noticed, and I know Bradley has a new staff, but like I've seen so many kids committing to Bradley the past maybe month or so. I know like the Wisconsin staff, the Ligon brothers up there are both going to Bradley. We've had, obviously, like I said, 3 guys there from Illinois, and I think there might be 1 or 2 more that weren't at the state games. I could be wrong there, but I just feel like I've seen Bradley commits come through quite a bit the past month or so. So that's cool to see for Bradley.
It seems like they were aggressive with the senior future game guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what you were going to say, Hammett.
Yep.
But a couple of those
definitely-
guys from Illinois were crossovers, guys that were at the senior future games and then also came to the Illinois State games. And, you mentioned the Illinois State games and the beauty of it continuing, we're on our 4th year, going on our 5th. Like, it continues to grow from a player perspective, but that's great. What I love to see is it's growing from a college coach's perspective. Every year we get more colleges there, and that's what it's all about. This event is for the players. It's for them to get in front of these coaches and have a showcase in 3 games and do their thing. Yes, we get a great look at these players as well, but it's for them. They've come to preseason IDs. They've done it in the high school season. They've done it in tournaments in the summer to get noticed, to get that attention from us. Now we want to put them in an environment where they can shine and all the lights, all the eyes are on them. And then these coaches get to, kind of like, I don't know, these coaches get to then compare all of the best players in Illinois in one spot, in one setting. They're not bouncing around in multiple tournaments. They are able to sit on one quad. So, yeah, over 100 coaches this year, which I thought was one of the biggest takeaways from the state games for me. And hopefully we just continue to get that thing growing and, not only just increase, numbers of players, but just continue to increase the quality of the event is what we're trying to do. Or at least that's kind of where my head's at as we continue to grow that thing.
For sure. Yeah, it was an awesome event. And I think we'll talk more in depth about the state games next week. I don't know if we mentioned this, but today we're going to kind of go through mainly future game stuff because I think that was like the first maybe big event that we missed after stopping our podcast for a bit. But down at Lake Point Sports in, what is that, Emerson, Georgia, technically, or Cartersville, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta on the northwest side-ish. Awesome facility down there. Always a good time getting to hang out with the crew. We bring a lot of our staff down for that event. But this year we had the junior future games, senior future games, and the future games. Those first few days was the senior future games workout and some gameplay. Then the junior future games guys started kind of getting in the mix. And at the end of the week, we finished off with the future games and the junior future games like bracket play. But awesome week down there. A lot of good stuff from our Illinois guys. But is there anything you guys want to touch on as with the event as a whole, or just getting into junior future games?
It was the largest scale we've ever had to deal with, really. Illinois and Wisconsin paired up for a senior future games team. Last year, we kind of just had to bring a couple guys to like mix in with that like Midwest team. This year, we had to bring more, and then we had to fill out part of the select team because like Illinois was so good in the 2027 group that like we've never been that deep, at least at that that point in the career where we're like, wow, we need to bring more guys to like fill out team select. So that was just like the most moving parts we've ever had. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that, but I thought it was an awesome. It was probably my favorite all around future games that I've been. It was my fifth one too, I think. So I've seen a few of them.
Yeah, that's nice. On year 5, I don't know if Gavin or Tyler were gonna say anything, but I think you hit it there. Like the future games there's gonna be more players from Illinois to choose from now, more than ever, because these players aren't committing as early as they used to with these new rules. There were still some 27s that were committed from back when they were in 8th grade before the rules had changed, but we had more players than ever to choose from. And we actually, some of our top arms, one of them went to USA. We had one guy get hurt right before the event. We had one guy who just could not make it logistically. So, like, we were going pretty far down our 27 list, way more than normal. And I think Peter said it, like, we were lucky because the 27s are really loaded in Illinois. Like, it's a deep class. We were able to fill our team Illinois for the future games. Also put, like, some really, really talented players and worthwhile prospects on that select team, mixing in with Missouri, a couple guys from, like, New York, PA. But man, if I'm, not being super biased, being from Illinois, like I thought we had some of the best representation on that team. I'm really looking forward to seeing, where the likes of Quinn Rooney and Omar Avalos and Wade Osment and some of these other arms end up committing. But super impressed, like with all those guys and that whole team select. To me, we changed around the format a little bit of the future games, and I thought that was one of the biggest wins down there. Was we had the senior future game guys all go first without the future game guys being there, so all eyes from these college coaches were on these 17Us. There were a ton of schools that were there. I wasn't sure what to expect with not the overlap of the future games and the seniors, but it seemed like all those coaches just got there a day or two early, watched all the senior stuff, and then stuck around for the future games workout and obviously all the future games stuff, which was really cool to see. And then even the junior future games was a little more condensed, and we can get into that here when we talk about Team Illinois. But I'm kind of with Pete. Like I thought it was one of my favorite future games. One of the reasons there too was like we went the whole week with maybe one delay that was like 10 minutes, or not even a delay. There was just some rain that hit us for 10 minutes, and that was it. And if you know Georgia or the Southeast in the summertime, late July, that is pretty fortunate right there that you're not getting thunderstorms every single day. So that was awesome as well.
You guys might call me crazy here too. Speaking of weather in Georgia, I didn't think it was as bad heat-wise as it had been in the past. It was obviously still hot, but I thought we actually had a pretty good week of weather just as a whole. Like I think it was probably mid-upper 80s. Obviously humid, but I feel like in the past there's days where it's 95, 96, and I don't think it was like that at all this year. So
there was that one morning where we were like, it was like the best day we've ever had there. It was like the fall.
Cloud cover. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Well, yeah, how about we get into the junior future games first? I mean, one thing I wanted to mention just about the team, they went 4-1 on the week. We ended in the Final Four. We made it there, played Tennessee, who eventually won the junior future games tournament. And I think, Drew, you mentioned this. It was the furthest any Illinois JFG team has ever made it in bracket play, so that was really cool to see. But I thought it was a really good team, good group of kids too. So I'll let you guys touch on it if you have anything.
I think if you were around that week and just around those guys for 10 minutes, it wouldn't have surprised you that they went as far as they did. One thing I thought that was just absolutely amazing was how close they all seemed. Mind you, they're all from different travel organizations. Yeah, we had a good mix. We had like 5 or 6 kids, that were on 2 travel ball teams and then a couple other ones sprinkled in. But like, you would have thought these kids had been playing with each other for 10 years. Like, the chemistry, the way guys were like razzing on each other throughout the week, just having a ton of fun. It was very easy to, see and understand why they went as far as they did. I feel like it's the most talented JFG team I've probably been around. This was, I think, my 4th future games week down there. So, no, a very talented group, a group I think we're all really excited to see how they do as they move into high school this year.
Yeah, no, they were absolutely loaded. I mean, being on the tournament side, like most of those kids were from like the 2 best teams that I saw all summer, and we got their best players. And like, it was basically just making a super team. And obviously there's more teams that were really good with players that we easily could have taken. They just couldn't make it. But no, it was ultra impressive, and they were so much fun to watch. Like, they were competing against some of the better teams there, and to make it to the Final Four as Illinois is pretty crazy. It was legit.
Yeah, well, like with the future games, the senior future games and the regular future games is all just showcase. The games are set. It's 3 games, and that's what makes the junior future games a little unique for me, is there's bracket play and there's a lot of pride, and we're bringing one team from Illinois and we're trying to win that thing. So balancing that with hey, this should be an awesome experience at an awesome park with some of the best players from other states that you're going to be playing against, with hey, like, we're still here having fun, but we're going to try to win this thing, and we want to represent for Illinois. We're not going to go, abuse arms or, do anything like that, but at the same time, we can still try to win. And to watch Illinois, and even the game before, I think it was that Saturday night, the first game of bracket play, we had Cody Bush, come out. He's going to Joliet Catholic. All these guys are 2029s, and he throws he had a no-hitter going through 5 or 6. Ends up throwing a 1-hitter, complete game with limited pitches. I'm sitting here like, man, he's going to save the bullpen. We're cruising through this game. Like, we are going to be set up for the bracket play the next day. It was just one of the best performances I've seen since at a junior future games, watching him just dominate and the poise on the mound, and the total control he had, over that baseball, laying in the breaking ball for a strike, just pounding the zone. And I know maybe we weren't getting into players yet, but like, to me, that was one of my favorite takeaways from Team Illinois, was watching that game that Saturday night. And it, honestly, like, kind of putting in my head, like, okay, we really have a legitimate shot to take this thing, down this year. But
yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a complete game because of the pitch count. You're obviously not trying to crush anybody, and he was like 75 pitches.
I don't even know if
it was like the youth. It was like the youth version of a
Yeah.
Maddox.
Yeah.
Like, it was so efficient.
Yeah, but I mean, shout out Nick DiBenedetto too. He was the coach, the head coach of that, and he wanted it. He wanted to be the coach of that team, and he really took it on, and gelled well with the guys, and they liked him a lot too, and it clearly showed. Like they all vibed really well, and the results speak for themselves. I mean, they beat a lot of really good teams. That what was that Sunday? We were playing the doubleheader. Yeah, I mean they won that first game against
Mississippi.
Yeah, Mississippi.
Yeah.
They were boat racing teams, and they beat them, and then they had to play Tennessee, and it was a really good game. I think we were just maybe one arm short from winning that game. We just kind of, they had a little more arms left than we did, but yeah, another really good close game there that we easily could have won. But no, it was awesome. I'm really happy for those boys. I'm sure it was a great experience for them.
For me too, just you go down and we ran them through the workout, and you get a really good idea of like your team when you run them through the workout. You see them all take BP, you see them all do defense, and I'm feeding the hack attack for BP during the showcase portion, and right after I'm on the radio to guys around the park like, you better watch out for Team Illinois. Like, I've never seen a more impressive BP. And it wasn't like, oh my gosh, we had just a ton of absolute studs. It was just the most complete top to bottom rounds of BP, living on the barrel, like showing a ton of feel to hit, along with some guys that had some juice. Like, some guys were leaving the yard in BP. I was just like, what am I watching right here? Like, this is so good for 14U. It's like, there cannot be that many other teams that are going to hang with us. So I'm glad we actually did make the legit bracket and make it to the semis, because I would have looked like pretty dumb making that statement. But that was the kind of like just vibe I got from that group right out of the gate.
I mean, there was some legit prospects there. Like I remember the first day, their first game. Like, I really wanted to watch it, but I was coaching Team Select. Luckily, we were playing next to each other. I'm in the dugout. Someone comes over, and they're like, "Yeah, Todd Delaney Jr. just went yard." And it's like, you never see that. You never see like over the fence home runs in the JFGs. It was like the second batter of the game, and I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, they're gonna be a problem. And then we had someone else go yard that same game, right?
Well, I know
it was Dempsey Steinmetz, yeah.
Yeah, it's just nuts. Like, you don't see that.
Well, and I think Mississippi, the team we played on that Sunday morning in the Elite Eight, that night before, that Saturday night when Cody Bush was kind of dominating in that complete game, they had a left-handed hitter who, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Mississippi. They had a left-handed hitter who walked off their game with an absolute bomb. It's out there on Twitter somewhere on X, probably through the Mississippi account. But I saw it the next morning as we're like driving to go play them. I was like, we may not want to pitch to this guy. Like, it was such an impressive swing. There's just so many good players down at that Junior Future Games, and I give all of our different state directors like a ton of credit. Like, they identify the top players in their state at that young age, and they get them to come to that event. And typically those Southeast teams with the location to, Lake Point, Georgia, it's not too hard for those families. Like, they tend to be loaded. Like, that Georgia team's always really good. Mississippi, David Sharp in Alabama does an unbelievable job. Their teams always are loaded. So it makes it for a great event. And, it's all, represented by prep baseball state directors and our staffs. And like you said, Nick DiBenedetto doing an outstanding job this year. And just a ton of fun to watch. So I don't know if there's any guys that we want to talk about. Like, Pete, you mentioned Todd Delaney Jr. going to Nazareth, like, really, really looks the part, can handle the bat, can play the middle infield. Was it him and Cody Bush that turned that double play up the middle where it's like a glove flip turn? Like, it was just like it's like I was watching a college game, watching those guys handle the middle infield.
I had those two written down on my sheet as just like, in regard to Delaney and Bush, like, that was an unreal middle infield duo. Like, and they were interchangeable. Either one could have played short. Either one could have played second. It didn't matter. And they were both just like automatic. Like, there was a play, I want to say it was Saturday, early in the day, that Delaney makes on like a chopper. And Drew, you just go, yeah, that 14-year-olds don't look like that. Play, like, making that play. Like, that's like a college guy right now. So really impressive stuff from those two. Like, we were kind of talking about it in regard to Delaney. Like, the middle infield lineage at Naz recently is kind of absurd. They went from Cooper Malamasian to Landon Tomey. After Landon Tomey, they're either going to go to Delaney or they could even go to Gavin Hartigan here in a couple years. So it's like crazy. The middle infield talent, the Naz, has really started to get through there. At least since I've been doing this, it's probably been even better since before me.
Yeah,
but
we've had a long list.
It's nuts.
Of good middle
yeah.
infielders. I was kind of just gonna look, but that may be too hard to pull up right now. But that's a really good call out. And I mean, Todd Delaney should fit right in and have a chance to impact the varsity squad. You know, at a fairly early age, just depending on what they have. But I also thought, like, just our middle infield in general. When you factor in Andrew Jones going to Marist, like, he can flat pick it. Like, he could play anywhere on the infield. And then Jake Pisano at third base made every play. So, like, it wasn't just like we were, you know, banging baseballs all over the place. Like, we were just playing good baseball. Like, it was really fun to watch. Pitchers were throwing strikes. Guys were making plays. Kids were having good competitive at-bats. You know, Paulie Hobbs, like, he may have some of the loudest present tools in the class. Like, he took one of the more impressive BPs of probably the entire junior future games, just leaving the yard with, like, relative ease, like, a lot. Hitting some towering home runs. We mentioned Dempsey Steinmetz hit a bomb in game. Leo Kelly comes towards the end of the event because he had conflicts at home that he had to attend, and he still wanted to be a part of this event and part of Team Illinois, which I think is like speaks volumes to just, man, that want to get down to the event was super appreciated. He comes out, wins us the game on the mound on that morning, on Saturday morning. And just added a really, really good spark to the club. Hector Valdez throwing the ball well in his first game. Like, he took the ball as the basically our Friday night game, you know, guy is game one, threw the ball really well, set a good tone. Just so many different guys. Jacob Casper's a left-handed hitting catcher to know. Charlie Coman, just an athletic left-handed hitting outfielder. So, I mean, we could go up and down the list, but those were just some takeaways that I had on that team.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, like, with kids that young, like, obviously a lot can change and happen throughout the high school, you know, their careers, but, like, that whole team, like, you feel confident that those guys are going to continue to get better and, like, be great players by the time it's all said and done. I mean, a lot of times you might just get a kid that's way bigger than everybody, and, like, he's just not, that's kind of just what he's going to be. But, like, everybody there was, like, you feel like they're just going to keep getting better, and they got present talent and they got ceiling. So, like, it was just an awesome blend of, like, kind of a little bit of everything with that team.
I'm hoping we had all those type of guys because, like, I look back at this 2025 class and the guy, like, Connor Essenberg, you know, junior future gamer. Enzo Infelice, junior future gamer. Jaden Fauski, junior future gamer. Like, and there's way more than that. Jackson Natanic, like, I could go on and on. I'd have to pull up the list, but, like, to see those guys from junior future games, they were really good then. But like you said, Pete, like, I don't think they're just the top guys right now because they're extra strong, you know, or like super physically advanced. Like, they're just good players that are going to continue to get better. And I'm hoping, you know, 4 years down the road, when we look back at that senior class, we can say, there you go, Todd Delaney, junior future gamer. You know, Dempsey Steinmetz, junior future gamer, whatever it may be. But I love that part of the junior future games, is kind of seeing where they end up going.
There's two more guys. Oh, you get in there, Gav.
I'm off.
Get in there.
I'm off topic a little bit, but one thing you guys mentioned Nick DiBenedetto coaching earlier. I think we all just have to give him a big shout out as well. He earned the win over Mississippi, who had a former big league head coach on third base for him. So shout out to Nick, beat a big leaguer, former big league manager. Sorry, but go ahead, Tyler.
No, that's a great call. Two guys I wanted to shout out: Tyler Landsey out of Providence Catholic and Mason Koth out of Jacobs. Both outfielders. I thought both took great at bats all week, and I thought both played fantastic outfield. Like, both those guys to me can play either outfield spot and play it well. I think as you look ahead to next spring, listen, Providence Catholic's a really tough program to play at as a freshman. I'm not going to be surprised in the slightest if when we get, you know, those preseason questionnaires back from Coach Smith over at Provi that he's like, yeah, Landsey's probably going to play this year. Like, I think he's wired that way. He seemed like a gamer just being around him. He also got on the mound and threw well for us too. Mason the same way, like he can also pitch. Younger brother of Jace Koth, who will be, planted in center field for Jacobs next year as well. So just two guys to me where it's like, I'm not going to be surprised if March or April comes around, we start hearing those two guys are factoring at the varsity level as freshmen.
And no matter what, like Tyler Lanzey's probably going to have a bright future, at Providence,
Right?
And add some quality competition to that roster because it's like it's so hard. There's certain schools where it's just so hard, to know. Hey, does this guy really have a chance to play early, or do they have 10 legitimate outfielders that have a chance to compete? And probably some that we've never heard of. One guy too, like Mason Carlson, catcher. I think he's going to Joliet Catholic or at Joliet Catholic right now. Like he banged a couple balls later in the week or the event that kind of stick out to me. And you mentioned just how good that infield was, especially up the middle. It brought me back to like I felt like it was on the same level as one year we had Dylan Head and Frederick Ragsdale in the outfield. Frederick Ragsdale went to Lyons Township, then South Sub. I'm not sure where he ended up committing out of South Sub, but okay. Yeah, he might be a sophomore there right now, but like not a single ball landed in the outfield. Dylan Head was the best 14U outfielder I've ever seen. Just kind of gave me the same vibe. Like two guys tracking down center and right, just absolutely held it down, and that's how I felt about our middle infield. Was like these are two of the top defensive middle infielders in the state, and then you throw Andrew Jones in there too, who's probably right up there with them. It's just really cool to watch that and to have that on Team Illinois. So we gotta work to have that next year and continue to build off this semifinal run. But shout out to all the parents and players that did come down to that event and make it such an awesome team, an awesome environment to be around, and a competitive team as well.
Well, do you guys want to kind of get into the senior future games team now? Talk about them a little bit. So we were on Team Heartland, like Hammett mentioned earlier. It was Illinois players and Wisconsin players. So far from the event, 8 players have committed from Illinois. 2 Bradley commits, Adam Swanson, Connor McKay. Anthony Chavez is going to Illinois. Sam Chin is going to Ball State. Patrick Connors is going to Boston College. James Fiegelson is going to Illinois Chicago. Adam Kozak is going to Lewis. And then Alec Novotny is going to Valparaiso. I thought it was an awesome event this year, like especially when we had it earlier in the week. I thought a lot of coaches were down there watching the games. So really cool to see.
I loved it. Yeah, get in there.
Yeah, real quick. Kyle Zeeble has also since committed to Lakeland, I believe. So
yep.
Just want to throw that out there as well. But go get in there, Drew.
Yeah, no. You guys kind of touched on it earlier, but last year was the first year we did the Senior Future Games, and it was a trial run. Weren't sure how many teams we could have. What is realistic with like guys that are still on the market, as they're going into their senior fall. And it does make the dynamics of this team a little interesting because we'll invite guys and then they'll commit over the summer. So then you're kind of having to move on and okay, well, who's next on the list? And you got to be prepared. You have to have a very deep list of like guys to invite. And last year we were mixed in with Indiana and Kentucky. But this year, after we realized, like, okay, the proof of concept is there. Like, this is a good event. Colleges were all over watching it. There's enough really good, 17 you guys still out there. So we had a few more teams. We were able this year to mix in with Wisconsin, which just makes a ton of sense from our home base. Like, we all work interchangeably between the two states, I would say. Our home base is, like, here in Chicago. So working with Wisconsin in general was just great from a flow perspective. Andy Soroka, Josh Fields, Vinny Rotino up there, and all of us kind of helped, put this team together. So all Illinois, Wisconsin players. You mentioned all the legit, commits. I have a couple guys that really stood out to me. I don't know how many I want to get into right now, but to me, one of the best players on the team and arguably the best player at the event, and he won the MVP honors, Jace Matazinski. Auburn's getting a really good one there. I loved him as a position guy, like playing shortstop, floating around. He's got a long levered frame that's only going to continue to get more physical. But he juiced a couple balls during game, like hit 2 home runs, a couple really loud ones. Tons of just energy and personality to him in general as like a human being, and it just shines on the field. And then he's like begging to get on the mound. We had seen it up to like 90, 91, maybe 92 earlier in the summer, and we didn't really have him slotted in. But we were able to get him like 12 pitches at the end of the event. You guys can, I mean, he's like sitting 92, 93. Might have touched maybe a 4. That might be aggressive. But crazy life out of the hand, and just put himself on the map as like one of the top two-way prospects in the country, I would say, and definitely at that event. So that was a huge standout for me. Somebody I just wanted to give some love to. I know it's not an Illinois guy, but he was a part of that team, and I was like honored to just be like able to watch him and kind of see him do his thing. And you always love, at least for me, when a guy gets into that environment and shines. Like, that's what it's all about. So that was my, one takeaway there. I've got other guys too, but I'll let you guys get in there.
Yeah, Matichinsky was number 1 on my list. Again, I know this is an Illinois-centric podcast, but we wouldn't have been doing the event any justice by not talking about him. But everything you said, like, he seemed like a great kid. Obviously, he's a Wisconsin guy. Our Wisconsin crew has way more backstory on him than probably any of us do. But great kid. Super happy for him. He was a joy to be around in the dugout all week. And like you said, that's how it's supposed to look. Like, watching him float around the infield, watching him with the bat, man, it was, I think what you said is perfect. Like, he was probably the best player on that team, and now going to Auburn. So great get for them. Super excited to just continue to track him as he gets older and older.
I really liked watching Patrick Connors. I thought defensively in the outfield, it was really impressive, just the ability to like roam the outfield. And I think it was the state games actually where he made like this play in center field. A few of us were up in the tower. I think it was me and you, Drew, and it was like a to his right, like at the fence kind of play or on the warning track, just running it down. But I mean, he's just a really good player. He had the 4th highest vertical jump at the event, 7 inches. We're in the 7th fastest 60 at the event, 6'4", So yeah, really good player there. I thought he was one that really showed well.
To your point on
6'4" is nuts.
Yeah,
that is absurd. That's crazy.
Crazy good run times on that senior future games team. I felt like all the athletic position guys all ran like they were athletic position guys, like sub 6'7s. To your point about Patrick Connors in that play, to me, like when you're playing on these turf fields, it is so hard when you're going up against the wall. I don't think people realize that. Like when you're playing on a natural surface and you go from grass to the warning track, it's called a warning track for a reason. Like you're getting close to the fence, but these turf fields, like they don't do a great job at certain parks, distinguishing between what the outfield is and like the warning track. So for him to not really know where that wall was, make the play up against the wall, fearless, and track it down, made it look pretty easy. Like, I think you're spot on. I think he's one of the best center field defenders in the state. And he was giving me plus run times, all week down at the senior future games, and so was Adam Kozak, left-handed hitting outfielder. Love the way he plays the game. It's hard-nosed. It's hard out of the box every time. Like he knows he can run and he shows it off. And that's what it's all about. Like he doesn't take a play off. And I loved watching Adam Kozak. And that to me is like a separator. There's a lot of good players there, but from running a 4.4 down the line to running a 4.07 down the line is a huge separator. And I thought both of those guys did that consistently. Like Lewis is getting a really good one in Adam Kozak. Left guy, football player, only going to get stronger and better. So I love the Patrick Connors call out, and I'll just stick there in the outfield with Adam Kozak.
Yeah, I had Kozak written down as well. Like, To me, he's a twitchy athlete who can probably play all three outfield spots at the next level. And like, he's only getting better. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about like the progression he's been on. Kind of came out of nowhere for us down at the Kickoff Classic last spring. And now he's going to Lewis, which I think's a fantastic fit on both sides. I think that's a really great spot for him to go play and get better. Like, that's a great program. Not to just fluff Hammett's feathers here. He's a Lewis alum, but like, that's a really good program. You look at what they've been doing the past couple years, especially George Bilecki getting drafted. I know we'll talk on that next week out of Lewis, but I think that's a really great fit for Adam.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree more. One guy that I want to mention that I just think is a cool story, Keenan Donaldson. So we saw him at the West Suburban Open, I believe, at Lee Fun Field, and we didn't really have much on him, but he showed really, really well. And I remember Drew went up to him and was like, "Hey, buddy, like, you're invited to the Illinois State games," and we ended up turning that into an invite to the senior future games, obviously. And he finished 3 for 7. And I thought he just handled the heck out of the arms, and like the defense was really strong. I thought that was just a cool story. I don't know if you guys had anything on him, but I just thought that was cool.
Totally.
Yeah, I think
he's a guy that like has not only emerged for us this summer, but he kind of emerged for New Trier last spring. Worked his way into the lineup, worked his way up in the order, from what I understand, and he was a no doubt State Games invite guy from what I saw at that West Suburban Open, and he was a guy that some of our interns and some of our other staff saw at Rantoul show well in the summer. And I love that because I kind of known the name going into the event, and then I'm keeping an extra eye on him, at that showcase. Like, how real is Keenan Donaldson? And like you said, I thought he handled the bullpens really well at that event. I really liked it in like the actual pop time, throwing down to second workout. It was very clean. The arm played with some carry. It was the right actions, and he can hit. So, guy's got a bright future. Tyler, were you going to say something on him as well?
Yeah, like I thought him, as well as Drew Satunis and Adam Swanson, all of our catchers really handled themselves well all week. I thought all of them worked hard behind the plate. Keenan threw out a runner or two, if I remember correctly, as well. I know Swanson did as well. Off the top of my head, but like, I think when you look at New Trier, like last year they had a really good catching duo of Jake Benavenga and Nick Sitchell. Now they'll be able to replace Benavenga with Donaldson this year to pair with Sitchell, which to me, I think if you have two really good catchers at the high school level, that's such a luxury. You can give guys, DH time at DH, save their legs. So, no, really happy for Keenan. I think it's a great story, like Hammett said. The next guy I want to get in on, Anthony Chavez out of Mount Carmel. This is a kid who he's always hit for us. I feel like anytime we go out to a game in the spring, see him at a tournament, whether it's the summer or the fall, the kid just hits. And he's now starting to get even more physical and hit for power, which is something I kind of talked about last year. I think after the fall when I saw him, just something that it's like that power is only going to come, like continue to come moving forward. I think Drew was like, we see Anthony on the first injuries, like, are you still growing? Like it seems like he gets taller every time we see him too, and he's like, I don't think I'm done growing. So he's now committed to Illinois. Super happy for Anthony. I thought he was like a steady Eddie all week. Took great at bats. He hit an absolute moonshot game one to get us going at the senior future games, and then he also ran a 6.88 at 6'3", 216. Like, the kid can frickin' move. So really happy for Anthony. I thought he was a great story that week as well.
He consistently, sorry Gav, he consistently gets off like really good swings too. And that was one thing where, like, he would take a swing, and we just kind of all look at each other like, oof, like, he'd, like, foul one straight back. We're like, oh, man, if he, like, connects there, that thing is absolutely gone. But, yeah, I mean, to move like that at that size, like, he told us, he wants to play in the outfield, too. Like, he can play first base, obviously. Like, that's kind of where we had him. But he's athletic enough to be out there in left to right field. So, I mean, that's a really intriguing profile, especially, I think Illinois is a great spot for him, for sure.
Just a couple of data nuggets from him. He had the third highest max exit velocity at the event, the second highest average exit velocity at the event, which was 99.6, which 99.6 average is insane. He had the highest average bat speed of 85.2, and he had the fifth furthest max batted distance of 395 during that workout. So some crazy numbers there for Chavi.
And a couple things that stick out to me on Chavez, and I saw it this spring when I saw him play for Mount Carmel, is there's a lot of guys with power in the state, but it's like they only have power if they sell out and it's to the pull side and it's on a fastball. Like Chavi hit a home run on a breaking ball, and he has power to both gaps. I saw him in the spring hit a home run to left center. I also saw him drive a ball to deep right on the warning track in the spring. But it's easy, it's very controlled, it's balanced, and it stays through the zone and up the middle of the field. And like that just tells me he's gonna have a chance to hit for average and power, which I love. And you factor in the left-handed bat, the frame, the fact that he runs a 6.88. Like who knows what the position profile can be in the future, but he can recognize spin. Like the right-handed changeup for him is going to be something that is, the more he sees of that and gets used to seeing that, like the better off he's going to be. Because really, right now, it's like the only thing that I see that can really get him off these quality arms. Like he can handle the velo, he can see the spin. It's that right-handed changeup that's going to be hard for those lefty hitters. But I love Chavez. I thought he was an awesome individual and kid in the dugout as well. Like that goes a long way. I am rooting hard for him. And Bobby Seymour, we mentioned these guys that have made the big leagues kind of early on in this podcast. We talk about McCade Brown. Like Bobby Seymour at Mount Carmel just got called up with the Rays. He was putting up huge numbers in the minor leagues, but same high school, left-handed hitting first baseman. They had similar power in high school. Like Seymour had ridiculous raw power. Chavez maybe doesn't have that kind of raw power. But Seymour, you watch some of his highlights from the minor leagues going into the big leagues, like he's homering to left center. Like staying inside the baseball. He can also homer to right, but I kind of see similarities there in Chavez and Bobby Seymour. So same high school, obviously a few years apart, but bright future for Anthony Chavez.
Well, do you guys want to kind of move over to the feature games now? I know there's.
I got a couple guys.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
I do too.
I'll make it a little quicker here. Sorry, I'll steal the thunder on some guys, but like James Fiegelson, St. Charles East, I'm sure he's on some of our lists. Like he commits to UIC. Really stood out to me. Like it's a very physical yet like growing frame, like wide shouldered, 6'2". Already presently really good looking, like how you would draw it up, but I think there's more to come. And he can really defend on the infield. Like it's natural, it's smooth, and I like the right-handed bat. He took a ton of good at bats. He's a really good player that should be climbing up our list. Thought Adam Swanson had some of the best barrels of the event. 2 doubles to right center that I remember that were really impressive swings. So thought he did well for himself, and then there were some arms as well. But before we get into the arms, if there's any position guys you guys want to, or if you have anything else you want to mention on those guys.
I love both those shout-outs. A couple other guys, like Drew Satunis, I thought he was maybe one of the more unlucky guys at the plate. Like, he had some really long at-bats. Like, and as pitchers on this podcast, like, you hate those guys that, like, just won't get out. He fouled off a ton of stuff. And I just felt like he was a really tough out all week. He probably didn't have, the box score he wanted for the week. But that's a kid who I think, I know everyone on this podcast is really high on Drew. But thought he had a good week, despite probably not getting the stat line he wanted. Kyle Zeebel, another guy that I feel like can defend up the middle, and he ran a 6.69 at the event, so he can run too. So, just wanted to shout out both those position guys, but I'm eager to get in on these arms, Drew, so I'm going to toss it back over to you.
You mentioned it, like, I felt like there were 2 guys, one at the senior future games, one at the future games, that kind of did get unlucky, and Satunis being a left-handed hitter, I felt like every time he came up, it was against a lefty arm. And Keegan Sipe, who was also at the future games, I felt like it was kind of the same way. So, those are kind of I don't know if they're tough breaks, but it's an opportunity for Drew to show, hey, I'm going to hang in there off a lefty. Like, and I'm going to compete and I'm going to battle, and I'm not just an easy out, even though I can say, oh, it's left, and he's got a really good breaking ball. Man, he hung in there and took some good at bats. So, yeah, let's get in on these arms. One position guy that does probably deserve a mention is Kalen Tomzik from Wisconsin, outfielder. Was
Great
a
call.
burner running the 60. I don't know the exact time, but it was 6.6 or better. And was hammering baseballs all week. So, Kalen Tomzik, Wisconsin outfielder, really, really impressive stuff there. But let's get in on the arms.
I feel like there's one we have to start off with, and it's got to be Sam Finn out of Plainfield North. I mean, his outing was like, holy crap, right? Like, I think for all of us. Now, I saw him really good in the spring. It was early in the year. Seemed like he kind of didn't have the best spring after that as a whole, but like he comes out and it's dominant. He's up to 91 with the fastball, getting 2,800 on a curveball, and he was just kind of carving guys. Gets a couple guys on, and then he just works right out of a jam. So I thought he was probably the biggest winner on the mound for that team as a whole. Huge upside there with Sam Finn. Like, I still think the best is yet to come with that kid.
The sky's the limit for him. I mean, he could be, if he's in the zone, that's a pro guy at some point. Whether it's early, whether he really figures it out and is out of high school or after a few years of college. But that kid, I think he can throw 100 one day. And the metrics are off the charts. Like, that breaking ball, when he throws that hard and down, like, you just can't even hit that. It's 3,000 RPM. And he's pairing that with 91. Like, yeah, good luck, buddy. Like, you just don't stand a chance off that. Drew, were you about to say something off him too?
I mean, he's a stud. Shout out Sam Finn. So happy for you because you just put yourself on the map as one of the top arms in the state. And you mentioned pro guy, like it's 100% a pro follow. He's 6'3", 200. He's up to 91. He threw strikes, had showed feel for a breaking ball, and he rips it. Throws it up to 80 with the high spin that you're talking about, and it's got like really late hard downer to it. So you're finding a lefty with just tons of arm talent. Massive body. Looks like he could be a workhorse with some feel. Like, I know he's been scattered at times, but like you're going to bet on that and take a chance on that all day long. So I know he's bound and set to make a huge splash in our rankings, along with the Anthony Chavez's of the world, and like rightfully so. But like, shout out to you, Sam Finn, because I know he's getting a ton of attention. That's one of the cooler things too is I had some of these guys at the future games, senior future games. Then we see them again at the state games. Like, hey, like, how's it been since that event? It's like, oh my gosh, like the phone is just blowing. Like, it's so cool to hear that. That these guys go down, do their thing in front of that many schools, and it pays off. And that's what it's all about. So, pumped for Sam Finn.
To add on to the Sam Finn part of this is, Drew, I want to say it was you asked him right after he threw, hey, like, who's been talking to you? He names a few schools. The next day, okay, which I think is really cool too, like, these POs can leave after they pitch at this event. A lot of these guys stayed for the duration of the event, which I think says a lot about the kids in general. Not that we would think any differently of the guys if they leave early. Comes back the next morning, he's kind of hanging around. Me and him are like, we have to ask, how's it been since yesterday? And he's like, yeah, I heard from a bunch of different schools. And he's like, rips off him. It was like 10 to 15 schools. Yeah. So, like you were saying, like, it's really cool. I think that's one of the best parts of this event, what it does for those guys, sometimes immediately. So, just wanted to throw that in there on Sam as well.
Any arms stick out to you, Pete, that you want to touch on?
I got one more. Connor McKay. He was kind of like one of the last arms to throw for the whole thing, but I mean, he worked 2 really quick and clean innings, and he was up to 90. And then, like we were just saying, comes to the state games, and he kind of had a weird situation at the state games. Like, there was an injury, so he had to get loose like really fast, and came in and was dominant. And now he's going to Bradley, so that's cool to see. The quick turnaround for the commit there. That's awesome because it's cool to see like we saw Bradley sitting on us and like watching our games. and then to see like they get their guy or like their guys, like 3 of them so far, it's just cool. Just cool to see how that plays out. But I thought Connor was a big winner, prepped for a big spring. Another really projectable kid. Like that dude, his best days are like still very much ahead of him. Like he's got so much more growing physically to do, and just maturing physically. Like, man, that's what it looks like. Those long levered, skinny, young looking guys. Like you bet on those guys.
I'll just go rapid fire on 3 more guys, but Sam Chin out of St. Lawrence, he's now committed to Ball State. Silky smooth lefty. He's like the same guy every time we see him, and that's a compliment. Can really move down the mound. Can throw 3 pitches for strikes. He's now committed to Ball State, so kudos to him. Alec Novotny. I know, Gavin, you kind of mentioned him, but like another guy. He's always like he just pitches like high pitch ability, goes right at guys. He's now committed to Valpo, and then Trey Cole out of Champaign Central. Athletic kid on the mound. Kind of looks like those middle infielders on the mound, which, Drew, I know that's something I feel like Dunk has kind of said bet on those guys. He was up to 91, and I thought he threw strikes in his outing. He was he had some bad luck happen behind him in one of his innings. But, man, I just wanted to shout out those 3 guys for senior future games. But we can move over to future games.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like I'm a huge fan of Chase Rhodes out of Tremont. Big, physical, wide-shouldered, and I thought the fastball was coming out really good. He's a low 90s guy, and you got Ryan Harris up to 93 as well, like 6'2", 200 pounds, big spin on the fastball. There was a lot of talent, which is great to see. And we're not, I feel like we mentioned a ton of guys, but yeah, we probably should go on to the future games here. If you want to intro it, Gavin.
Yeah, so the future games, a lot of really, really, really talented players on our 2017. We had Team Illinois, also Team Select, Drew, like you kind of mentioned, with Missouri and a few other states mixed in there with them. But I think the first thing to mention, it's hard not to mention, at the future games for Team Illinois is Caden Wozniewski. He earned the MVP pitcher honors from the event. 4 strikeouts and 2 innings pitched, no hits, no runs. I mean, he was up to 95. It was unbelievable. Like a night game against Team Indiana, he just carved. Like it was really, really, really impressive stuff. And he's now heading to the All-American game, which I assume, I'm not obviously involved with that, but I assume it's because of that outing.
Yeah, I'm sure that definitely helps. But I mean, that was easily the most fun I've ever had at a future games game. Just like we were already excited about that game, dating all the way back to the super sophomore games. Like we were just messing with Cooper Trinkle. Like, man, that nightcap Indiana versus Illinois game is going to be nuts. And then they actually scheduled it. And our team we were super high on, and we were facing a high level arm right out of the gate, like 94. First at bat, Andrew Talbot just rips a single. We're like, all right, it's go time. Let's go. And then Wozniewski's coming out throwing 95, carving. I mean, I don't want to, rip on them too hard, but we kind of beat the brakes off Team Indiana. And that's old news, but yeah, that was so much fun. And yeah, Caden Wozniewski was right in that mix of lighting up the radar gun and just being absolutely dominant.
And Caden just keeps getting better. I mean, that's one of those guys Drew was talking about earlier. Junior future gamer, I think twice, as a 13, back when we did a 13U bracket, and as a 14U kid, now a future gamer, now an All-American. Like, just so happy for Caden. It's a guy we've all been around since he, was 13. It was awesome. It was absolutely electric, his 2 innings, and, rightfully so, he won MVP for the event.
I mean, you mentioned junior future gamers. That we should probably chat on that because Caden Wozniewski, and I could be wrong, but Jackson Tucker was a junior future gamer. Brady Cunningham,
Cash Van Houten, Colin Schweigen,
Carson Trivellini, Gavin Stanislawski, Colin Schweigen, Cash Van Houten, and Josh Morgan.
There might have been even more.
Benson.
Yep.
Omar Avalos.
Yep.
So we had 2 teams that year, I'm guessing, at the 14U level. But that's what it's all about. Identifying these guys on their 14U, and if they continue to keep getting better, like that's what we're looking for. And then they get to the big boy future games, and we'll see. From here on out, maybe it's the pro case, maybe it's the Super 60, maybe it's the All American game. Like Caden earned his opportunity at. I will say one guy that wasn't a junior future gamer, one guy we did not see this spring, who I thought had the best showing of anybody when it comes to position players, was Tristan Steger. He's a catcher, left-handed hitter at St. Lawrence. He had transferred, had to sit out last spring. He did it all. He absolutely did it all. I knew he was really, really interesting and really good. That's why we invited him. Left-handed hitting catcher. Had shown well multiple times this summer. I didn't know he was that good. The at-bats he took were ultra professional and polished. I mean, he was all over the barrel, and when he wasn't, he was taking tremendous swings that were right on time. If he missed one, it was going straight back into the netting, and he didn't miss many. Like there was minimal swing and miss, and he drives the ball. Like it's not a punching Judy. Like he is a catcher that has polish with power from the left side, and he can catch. Like he could probably play the infield too. But he did a really good job behind the plate. Like to me, he's a power 4 guy all day long. One of the top position players in all of Illinois, which will be reflected in the rankings. But man, was Tristan Steger fun to watch for me.
You talk about Bobby Seymour staying inside the baseball. How many times did Steger drive one the other way, like off the wall, or like one?
Yeah, he had like
The
2 hit off the
crazy. Yeah, like he could have easily had 2 backside bombs that were like off the yellow. Yeah,
easy.
Yeah, and these are legitimate arms these guys are facing, and that's what makes it really good too from an evaluation standpoint. Is like you actually see like, can these guys hit? Are they all or nothing? Can they see spin? Because you're seeing some of the best breaking balls, some of the best changeups these guys are seeing all year, maybe ever, and obviously some of the best, firmest fastballs as well.
Yeah. Steger, I don't think you said this. He went 6 for 7 at the plate against those arms. Like that's just really impressive to go. Only not get a hit one time. And
I'm sure he was probably on the short list to get most valuable hitter from the event, which would have been crazy that Illinois could have clean sweep those awards. But I think that also just speaks to the talent we had on this team this year. It was crazy. One position guy I know we're all massively in on after this event, Tyler Gluting, out of Mattia Valley. Another guy who just took unreal at bats all week. He had great pieces of hitting a couple times, where he's going down with 2 strikes and just battling his tail off, getting good swings off, and then to pair, he was like up to 93 on the mound, or it might have been even higher than that. I might be shortchanging him.
I'm seeing 94.7 in his profile.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought I might have been shortchanging him, but really impressive two-way guy. Like that's a kid. I think his best days are still yet to come, but he was a huge winner for me personally.
I'm right there with you. Like it's a very interesting two-way profile because the arm talent is so electric on the mound. You're a mid-90s, touching mid-90s as a lefty, and you're only going into your junior year. That's special. He, to me, is way further along with the bat, which that should speak volumes when you talk about a lefty who's up to 95. But the polish and just the amount of quality swings and at bats he took. He lived on the barrel. He's really athletic. I love the way he moves around the field. Can play the outfield. I love him as a position guy. And to me, it's one of those guys where you recruit him as a position guy, and he could be a super impactful guy. But if for some reason, as he climbs the ladder, if he gets to some level where maybe the bat doesn't play, he can also then just hop on the mound. And maybe give that a shot as well. But I loved it as a position guy. I think that's a great call out. And he's a guy with loud tools. Like, he is, not the most physical guy, but it's like peaking at 100 miles an hour off the bat. 360 max distance. He gets plenty of leverage in his swing.
One guy I wanted to mention on day one was Chase Reinhardt from Normal West. Like, the fastball is not going to wow you right now, but he did exactly what I felt like I had seen before. He went out there, threw strikes, missed barrels with the fastball, threw 2 innings, struck out 5, no walks, no hits, no runs. Like, just a really good outing for him. Up to 88 with his fastball, mid-80s for the most part, but really impressive. I think he's just a competitor, and he's a really good just pitcher. And I think there's a lot more still to come for him.
He's an all-stater this spring, Gavin, because he took the ball in every big game for Normal West, and I felt like he just kind of showed that, like what you're talking about. Left-handers who can throw strikes and spin it, and go ahead, you were going to say something.
With that first night, Hammond, I don't know if you fully did it justice too, because I was just doing a little digging while you guys were talking. That was unbelievable offensively what our team did, and I know we're kind of talking about players, and we'll probably get into that with these guys, but I was just looking. We had 12 hits as a team and only allowed 1 hit to Indiana, and Cooper Trinkle was telling us, like, they threw their best arms, and their arms were very talented. Like, it's not a knock on their arms. Our offense was just unbelievable, and we won 10-0 that game. Like, and obviously our pitching was good too, only allowing 1 hit against them. Like, I don't know. That was one of the biggest highlights, I think, of probably the future games as a whole. Like, I remember after that game just walking around in the buzz around the field with coaches coming up to us talking about how good that offense was. Like, it was unbelievable.
I mean, even during the game, you go up in the scout tower, and typically there's people watching every field, right? Because you're in the scout tower for a reason. You can kind of bounce around. Everybody's on our game. Every school, like even the southern schools, like Florida and Georgia were playing at the same time as us, and they were the game of the night. They're watching us. I mean, people were coming up and like side-eyeing us, like, what the heck did you guys bring down here? Like, people told us that was like the best team there. And I mean, that performance, like, that looked like the best team I've ever seen. Like, that team could probably be third in the NL Central right now.
Well, it's wild how baseball works, because it was like nothing could go wrong that first night. The arms were unbelievable. Indiana was doing everything in their power to jinx the no-hitter we had going through like 5 or 6 innings. They finally did it. I think we gave up a hit in like the 6th or 7th. Coming by like, hey, did you guys know you had a no-hitter go? Everything they could do to throw us off. And then the next day was like kind of the exact opposite. It was like we couldn't do anything right, which is just the nature of the game. It's wild how that works. But, man, that Friday night, or that, I guess it was that was a Thursday night game. That was so much fun. And we talk about all these awesome performances, and Caden Wozniewski getting the MVP pitcher, like, from his outing that day was one of the most electric things I've ever seen. But I don't want to say it was overshadowed, but it was honestly like equally matched by the performance that Jackson Tucker had. It was wild.
Yep. That's where I was going next.
To start off the future games doing what Jackson Tucker did, to literally get on every school's radar at the entire event. He hits 2 home runs, along with just looking like an absolute stud at shortstop. Making it look easy. It was really, really impressive. He put himself firmly on everybody's radar on that first night. So Jackson Tucker doing his thing, like that to me kind of capped that night from an offensive performance standpoint. Just like, what more can you ask from a position guy? And to do it at the future games in the first game was really, really cool.
Being a backside home run, which was something we'd started to see him do in the summer. Because, like, I was seeing tweets from The Rock, like, he hit, like, multiple backside home runs there. And I was like, if that dude, starts hitting, watch out. And he did it again on the biggest stage. And then I think he maybe got, he's tried to force, press it a little bit and kind of struggled the next game. But I feel like everybody was coming off that high of that game and, like, was just trying to replicate that. And obviously you can't do that in baseball. And, that's... we struggled a little bit the next game, but still, I thought, that it was still an awesome experience, and especially for Jackson. I'm sorry. Like you said, looks like an absolute guy at shortstop, just the athlete. And there's athlete in that family, like his brother interned for us, basketball player. Like, you can just continue to bet on that kid. And his, the sky's the limit for that kid for sure.
Next guy I want to touch on, bats wise, gotta talk about Brady Cunningham. I mean, the way the ball comes off this kid's bat is absurd. Everything he hits hard, even in game. Like at Lake Point, for people who haven't been there, like, yes, they show you all the pitching TrackMan data. They also show you how, the exit velocity off the bat. And he was getting like 100 plus EVs in game, which at that age is just absurd to me. He can move, right? Like runs a 6.67 at 6'2".
It's almost like a
218.
not believable 60 time.
Yeah.
With how physical he is. It's unbelievable that he runs that 60 time. I mean, you mentioned the exit velos. It was like he didn't just do it once. It was like consistently coming off the bat at 100 to 108. And every swing he takes wakes you up. I think someone was mentioning it earlier with Anthony Chavez. It's the same kind of thing with Brady. It's like you don't want to miss a pitch because at any time it could be the hardest ball you see hit all week. And I would say out of everybody at the Future Game, Brady Cunningham's got to be top 3 from like average in-game exit velocity. And I just love watching him take the at-bats. Because he's not a all or nothing. Like, he lives up the middle of the field. He's trying to basically, it seems like he's just trying to take the pitcher's head off and just line it right back at him. Because I felt like some of his best contact was just right back up the middle of the field. And he certainly, like, he was showing it in BP the next day. Like, he can turn on it and elevate it with the best of them. He's got some of the best raw power and the most feel to hit of like anybody in the class. And you put that combination together with his size and then that 60 time, and it's like, okay, he plays first, but we also played him a bunch at third. He could probably play left or right. Like, the more versatile he becomes, the more, attractive he becomes as well, just from a prospect perspective, because he can flat hit.
Yeah, I probably can count on one hand how many times I've seen him swing and miss. He just is all... Like, he's so short to the ball, too, and, like, the strength and ease that he can get to that strength is really, really impressive. And then one of my favorite videos from the entire Future Games is one of his hits on that first night, and him just busting down the line. Like, it's, like, scary. It, like, shocks you when you watch it. Like, you do not want to be in front of that kid when he's, like, getting to that speed. It's so explosive for that size, like... And then, on top of all that, he comes out and throws 2 scoreless innings up to 90 with the fastball.
And just dominated.
Yeah. Dominated. Filled up the zone. Absolutely filled it up. Right at guys. So, really like him on both sides of the ball. But, yeah, he's just so impressive.
Just strikes me as such a winner. Great kid in the dugout, but wants to compete and wants to get after it. And just... There's a certain way he carries himself that I'm just a huge fan of.
And, like, not cocky in any way. It's just, like... He's just so nice. Like, he's like a silent killer. Like, you just know he has confidence in himself, but he will never, like, outwardly, show up anybody in any way.
I also really liked a right-handed hitter. I thought he was a big winner for me. I wasn't totally sure what to expect, but Ryan Wilberding out of Libertyville, like, he played the outfield all spring for Libertyville because they had Quinn Shambo. He wins a state title. He's in that lineup. He's hitting in the middle of that order, like 5-6 hole all spring. We saw him hammer some balls in the spring, but at state it was a little hit or miss for him, and he even said it. Like, I think he said he didn't have the best state final performance, but down at the Future Games, like, he also didn't get a ton to hit. When he did, he was on the barrel on time. It's super physical and kind of imposing in the box. Like, I would not want to pitch to him. It's very hitterish, standing in the third base coach's box. You just get a feel like this guy's going to mash something. And I loved it. I loved his at-bats, but I liked it behind the plate even more. Probably because my expectations, I wasn't totally sure. And he could really handle the staff, and it's a huge arm from behind the plate. It's one of the top arms in the class, I would say. 80 plus, but it carries and it plays easy. Like, that's the thing. All these you get enamored with these numbers. Oh, this kid's 84 from the crouch, or he's 94 on the mound. But like, how does it play? Like, how does it come out? And his plays with super ease. It's almost like he's flicking it down to second, and it explodes out of his hand, and it's got all kinds of carry. I'm a big Ryan Wilberding fan, and I thought he had a really good showing for us.
Yeah, there's like something in the water up in Libertyville with catchers, right? They're going to go from Shambo to Wilberding. And then they also have a 2028 that, me and Hammett got to see kind of firsthand at the Super Sophomore games in Weston Wuzakovich, who's going to come right behind Ryan whenever Ryan's done. But, yeah, something in the water up there in Libertyville, both catchers and arms, because, like, they have Brady Bunick as well, who's, one of the top arms in the entire state, maybe even the country. So,
well, I was going to mention
just kind of crazy.
Libertyville's rolling out the catchers, and McHenry's rolling out the arms. They go from Brandon Shannon. They got Caden Wozniewski coming up, and I love to see it. I mean, the amount of talent, the Fox Valley area is loaded. Like I mentioned, McHenry. There's other schools that are loaded, but that Libertyville program, they've got guys coming through there left and right. Because, I mean, one guy that tore up our Illinois State games, Axel McKnight, like he wasn't even in that lineup this spring. Huge left-handed hitter with all kinds of power. And there's other guys, too. Madden Kotz, I thought, showed well. We'll get into the Illinois State games at another time. But, no, that's a great call out. Anybody, I've got a few other position guys on here. I want to open it up to you guys, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to add this when you guys were talking about Brady Cunningham, but I spilled my coffee, so I had to get out of here quick. Cunningham in game, you guys mentioned, had a lot of hard hit contact. We had one ball on TrackMan registered at 107 and another at 105 off the bat in game, which I remember after those both had happened, we were all kind of like turning heads like, holy cow, that's different, like just coming off the bat. So, yeah, really impressive for Brady, but you guys go ahead if there was someone else you wanted to mention.
Well, to your point, we're watching the board all week. You're seeing contact all week from really good players, and his is just on a different level from some of the top players in the country. Just speaks that much more. But yeah, who does somebody want to mention here?
I mean,
I'll throw in an arm.
Okay, go.
I'm gonna go position guy.
This is like Gavin. I think this turned into like your favorite player. Because his family does tractor pulls in the Henry area.
I was gonna talk about him too, so this is perfect.
Traxon Roberts. I mean, also probably had a case for MV pitcher from the event. His outing was absolutely dominant, and I felt like it came at a perfect time for our team. It's the last game. We really weren't playing well. Traxon Roberts comes in and absolutely deals for 2 innings. And it kind of like there was an entirely different energy within the team for the rest of the game. Like we started making a comeback on Wisconsin. It was just such a spark plug. I know we'll touch on it at state games because he was somehow even better at state games coming off future games. But to me, he was a huge winner. Drew's mentioned some guys that will see that reflected in our next rankings rollout. Traxon's right up there, whenever we roll our 2027. So huge winner for me. It was a guy, admittedly, I've been high on since last year at preseason All-State. Unfortunately, where I live, I don't really get to go see him in the spring, and I know we tried to track him down in the spring. But, man, it was awesome to see him pitch the way he did out of Armstrong, a small town in central Illinois. So, Gavin, I'll let you get in here on him because I know you actually you got more backstory on the person. So
yeah, he's from Armstrong, which actually, quick story, I was talking to my parents about this after the future games, and my grandpa, my mom's dad, was born in Armstrong, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, he, really impressive. He was talking about how his family used to do tractor pulls, and they came to the fair in the town that I grew up in, another really small town, so which was cool, kind of a connection there, but his family's a bunch of farmers. So he farms in the mornings, has to get up, do a bunch of chores, things like that. So I think a farm kid has a lot of like work ethic that maybe some other kids don't have, just not having that kind of lifestyle. But I think that just adds to how good of a player he could become with just that kind of small town farmer work ethic that he probably has. And I just think there's so much more ceiling for him to touch. But yeah, Roberts was awesome. I've got a story I want to talk about with him, but I'm going to save it for the State Games podcast because that's when we talked about it, but it's related to him being a farmer. But go ahead, Drew, or whoever, if you had anything else.
Yeah, he was always super interesting to us. He was like 84, 86 and had long levers and was super loose, and you love the way the ball came out. To see him, like his velo shot up a little bit this summer when we finally caught him at a tournament, which earned him the invite. And to see him come down there and to see the velo be what it was, like he was up to 91.5 at the Future Games. He said 88 to 91 basically. So to see the velo bump was awesome, especially in that environment. But I couldn't believe the total control he had over all of his offerings, the way he handled himself on the mound. He was landing the breaking ball anytime he wanted. The fastball was in the zone. And I thought Tyler said it perfectly. Like, it totally changed the complexion of that game, the vibe to the dugout. And just for him, like you're saying, from a small town farmer to walk into that environment and to just own that mound the way he did, so cool to see. And I can't wait to see kind of where he ends up and just to see what kind of trend he stays on now. Because he's kind of on that upward trajectory, and I'm curious to see like how long can he keep that thing going, because there's so much to tap into with Traxton Roberts. But I agree, one of the best performances out of anybody in Team Illinois on the mound. One of my favorite guys to watch on the week was Andrew Talbert. Love the way he went about his business. He's a versatile athlete that can play anywhere. Doesn't really care where he plays either, was kind of the vibe I got. Like, he just wants to play. Like, he just wants to go out there, make plays. He was taking it on the infield a lot. Like, pregame, we do fungo work where we send out both teams, and it's rapid fire. And I thought he was one of our top kind of movers and infield actions, and just looked like he could play anywhere on the infield. Can also go out to center field and play. He's got loud tools, a huge arm. It's like mid to upper 90s from the outfield. Plays really good across the infield. Also hammered some balls in game and took some really good at bats. Like, he's not overly big, but he packs a lot of strength and twitch in his frame. He can leverage the baseball. So like watching Andrew Talbert play throughout the week, I thought was really fun. And same with Carson Trivellini. They're different styles. Trivellini's a much smoother, kind of actiony, longer strided, different frame as well. Like Trivellini's got a little bit higher waist, like not the dynamic tools that Talbert has, but everything Trivellini does makes it look easy. Very fluid, can play on the move, like traditional shortstop look. And I thought he really competed with the bat. Kind of whole field approach. Just two middle infielders that I thought were really good pieces for Team Illinois that both have a lot of upside.
Yeah, and I thought Talbert even looked interesting in the outfield too. Just like, he's an explosive athlete, like you said, really good first step, and he's got crazy arm strength. But sticking on the outfield, I like Josh Morgan. I think he's like a true center field profile. He's an elite football prospect. Was he a 4-star? He's got offers from like Miami and Penn State, Tyler. And he finished 2 for 6 with a double and 2 runs scored. And he's just a guy that always seems to get it done in front of our staff. Like, he just seems to hit in game for us. Yeah, I came away really liking him.
Keegan Sipe, he's at Triad, had a huge spring for Triad. He came in there facing a lot of tough lefties, and I thought he stood in there and handled himself extremely well. Took some great swings over the course of the week, and I think he's one of the better left-handed bats in the state, especially down in that southern Illinois area. Really, really kind of fun to watch Keegan Sipe every time he steps into the box. I've got a couple arms here, too. I don't know if you guys want to mention or turn the page.
Well, I was going to go to select in a little bit, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, just I thought Mason Breach threw really well on that first night. He was kind of that part of that quartet that threw against Team Indiana, and it was just a really unique look. I thought everything was kind of down in the zone, kind of knew exactly who he was. A little funk to the delivery, and I thought he really tore it up as far as like making Team Indiana uncomfortable with their at-bats. So, Mason Breach, I thought. And then Mason Rycheski was a guy that kind of emerged for us over the summer. Firm fastball, comes out really good, like physical build, has some secondaries that, I think have like some development and some ceiling to them. But I thought Mason Rycheski he's at Kennedy High School, was one that really put himself on the map as well. But we can get into team select. There's guys on Team Illinois that, I mean, I think are going to be really, really good. We just aren't talking about everybody. So team select, we had 5 to 10 Illinois players on that team, P, with all the arms we had that helped fill that roster. And then we had 2 position guys with Quinn Rooney and Omar Avalos. So yeah, I know you were tasked with, hey, Pete, like team select, we want you to know every Illinois guy over there. It was combined with multiple states. There were other things going on at the event, junior future games going on, Team Illinois as well. So like there was some overlap, and that's why your main focus was, hey, don't miss anything here, and then obviously get to all the Illinois stuff as well. But with you kind of sitting on that, what do you have on team select?
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of both of our position players. Omar Avalos, I just love the way that kid plays the game. He's a little spark plug, good bat to ball with some sneaky strength, and he actually won MVP in game 2. He finished 2 for 2 with a double. Just really love the ABs. Like he got some, like we were saying, like a tough draw a few times. Like the first arm he faced in the whole dang thing was a lefty from South Carolina up to 94. Like one of the best arms there. So left, worked a walk, a really good at bat. And then from there, I just continued to put together good at bats. Really like the bat to ball, and true center field profile, can really go get it out there. I think that kid is someone that coaches need to be on for sure. Perfect like table setter, top of the lineup type kid. And then Quinn Rooney, he was a 2-way actually. He actually finished 3 for 7. He had a great week with the bat. Had a double, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Long levered and loose with some sneaky pop in the bat, but I thought the bat to ball was good. He was another one that put together good at bats. But then where he really shined was on the mound. He was up to 88.5 actually twice, and that was a PR for him. So, gotta love when they put up a personal best in a stage like that. Yeah, 88.5. And one thing that I found really interesting was, so I was like standing by the other dugout when we would hit to try and get video, and all the other kids that had faced him were talking about him, Quinn, and saying how hard he was to pick up because it's super like long levered and right at you. The fastball comes out really good. I feel like you can pick up nuggets like that from the kids. Like they'll tell you a lot. Like if they're telling you like that kid's hard to hit or like that kid's like really good, then you got to listen to that because like they know they're the ones facing him. So I just found that really cool, and I'm glad he had a big week. I mean, I don't know really what he's faced or done on a national stage, so I think that was kind of the first thing he's done that was like to that level. So for him to ball out on both sides of the ball was awesome, and both of those kids, A+ kids, great kids, loved being around both of them.
So one thing that I was looking into on our on the stats and the data and the metrics and stuff, on the mound for Quinn Rooney, he had the highest of the entire Future Games event. He had the highest average extension on his fastball and curveball, and the 3rd highest average release height on his curveball as well. So I thought that was an interesting thing to note.
He
Makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
He's just kind of a unicorn too. Like he's 6'6", 200 pounds. Can play the outfield. I know he was tasked with playing a lot of first base for Team Select because they had a lot of outfielders on that team. But he ran a 6'7" at that height with those levers, and the way he kind of stays inside the baseball and uses the whole field at the plate. There's not a lot of swing and miss for how long levered he is as well. Like sometimes those long levered guys, they can get longer with the swing. There's more swing and miss than a compact guy. But he stays inside the baseball, doesn't try to do too much. There's like some natural elevation in the swing. And then if he's doing that on the mound too, Pete, it's like those 2-way guys, they just adds a little extra, intrigue to them and their profile. So I think the sky is the limit for Quinn Rooney. I've made the comp a couple times, but he gives me some Colin Bruggeman vibes, who was down there at Freeburg, won a state title for Freeburg a couple years back. Now he's at Oklahoma State, but really long levered, was like coming into his own in high school and just started hitting for massive power the older he got. So like, I'm not putting that out of the question for Quinn Rooney, because right now I feel like he's more of a gap-to-gap guy. But as he matures and adds strength to that frame, like those doubles could turn into some big power. He's definitely a guy I'm watching really closely in the state.
Yeah, good call. I can move on to a couple arms here. Wade Osment, I thought had probably about as clean of an inning as you can possibly have. He threw a 6-pitch inning. The first innings to the point where we're like, we might have to roll this guy out there, like just let him stay out there and get like 6 outs in an inning or something. But I thought he threw the ball really well. He's up to 87. 3 pitches for strikes, just really clean. Like the mover, good frame. So was a big fan of him. And then Austin Winge, it's one of those two, I'm sure.
Asked him at the event. Now I can't remember what he said. Yeah, I'm ticked. Sorry, Austin.
Winge.
Yeah.
He struck out 3 in 2 innings pitched. But it was just like right at you, 86 to 89. No messing around, quick worker, in the zone, throwing the curveball for a strike 2. I thought it was a nice change of pace from kind of what was happening that game. Like we were kind of getting, hit around a little bit, and then what do you know, an Illinois guy comes in and starts shoving it. But those were just 2 guys that I really liked. Came away fans of. What's up?
One thing with Wade too, again for the whole Future Games event, he had the highest average and max horizontal movement on his fastball. His average was 20.3 inches and his max was 23.6 inches on the fastball.
He's definitely a sinker slider guy, so like for him to come in and actually show exactly who he was, every pitch was at the knees or down for Wade when I was watching, and I loved Austin Winge. I thought it was a really clean arm. You said it. I thought you said it perfect. Like landed the breaking ball for a strike, and his velo was way firmer all summer. So, like, he was 86, 89, and he'd been more like 88, 92 in the summer. So, for him to kind of dominate with the lesser velo, he didn't care. He was just going right at guys. And it was definitely refreshing because I was down the line talking to some schools at that time, and they were just saying how he had some of the best breaking ball feel that they had seen in, like, multiple games that they had watched. Kudos, Austin Winge. I know he played a huge role for Lockport as a bullpen guy this spring, and we'll see kind of what role he has next spring, but he'll definitely be a big piece to their staff, I'm sure.
You guys got anybody else you want to mention or bring up before? I got a couple more data things to mention, but
get in on the data stuff, Gab. That's I'm curious.
So Andrew Talbert had the second highest outfield velo at the event, 97 miles an hour from the outfield. Liam Nash had the 4th highest maxed horizontal movement at the Future Games, 22.6 inches, I believe it was. And that was on his curveball, I think it was. I'll have to double check. I didn't actually write down exactly what the pitch was. So
no, that's all right. I'm glad you were prepared and locked in.
Trying to see what else here, like some of the higher ones. Hayden Adamowicz had the 3rd highest changeup horizontal movement, negative 21.1 inches. Braylon Brown had the 3rd highest curveball horizontal movement, negative 21.8 inches. Jimmy Benson had the 6th highest max curveball horizontal movement at 21 inches. 4th highest average curveball horizontal movement at 17.38 inches. And I have a huge list here of just a bunch of stuff, but I just thought those were interesting. And actually, you guys were talking about Brady Cunningham's 60 time, but he had the 9th fastest run speed of the event, 22.2 miles per hour, which, again, for his size is really impressive. 22, yep.
Yeah, that's wild. So once he gets going, he can really move. I thought Liam Nash was a really good call out. He was interesting for me. I saw most of his outing, and I just thought he looked really physical on the mound. He was like 6'2", 200, and I thought the fastball came out easy. It was a little scattered in his outing, but I want to say it was up to 91. Had some decent spin on the breaking ball. I think that's a guy that's definitely worth a follow. The velo, it would not surprise me if his velo continues to shoot up.
Another
he
thing
really looked apart just standing out there on the mound.
Cunningham, another thing with him, I just read this part too. 9th highest vertical jump at the event, 30.3 inches. So, like, the kid's just an athlete and at that size, and it's just, pretty unreal.
Yeah, he's a freak.
I'm sure their football coach would love to have him on the football field.
Yeah.
Like, a build like that can move like that strikes me as an elite tight end. but keep him in the batter's box, keep him healthy, and he's a fun one to watch. And I know he proceeded to tear up some other big events too, even after the future games. But man, it was a lot of fun this year. Like there was a ton of talent I thought throughout. Like we just went through all three levels: the 14U, the 16U, the 17U, and the amount of Illinois representation. Hopefully it can stay that way for years to come. Pete, like hopefully they continue to have this team select, and it just works out that way with the number of teams to make everything even. Because Illinois, like, I don't think we're slowing down as a state as far as the talent coming through. To me, these classes just continue to get deeper. There's always going to be high-level guys at the top. So I'm sure in that 2028 class, there's going to be plenty of guys to choose from. And it's going to be fun to watch that. Like, starting now, like, our eyes are already thinking about, next year's future games. That's how quickly it kind of rolls over. And, now it's the 2028's class's turn. And it's our job to start identifying as soon as possible and make sure that we can lock in a list that we feel good about, that we're bringing quality prospects down to that event. It is a long week. It's it's a full week for us where we're doing we're basically at the field from what is that, dawn to dusk, or dawn to actually like midnight. So it's not dusk, but they're long, good days, and we get to learn a ton about these players.
Yeah. What an episode to get back on. Almost coming up on 2 hours here. I think that I hope our viewers enjoy that. Our first one back, packing it in with some information. But Drew, no, you mentioned that about the future games, and I remember I think at least the house that I was in, we had one day where we were able to get back to the house maybe at 4. We had a couple hours or something, and just taking a quick little power nap to refresh for the night was, after those long days, it's really nice for that. But no, it was awesome getting back in here. I'm glad we were able to get on here and talk about the future games, and it's a good episode, I thought.
Yeah, sorry if we're a little rusty. Definitely, it seemed a little more uncomfortable for me than normal, I would say, Gavin, just trying to get back in here and figuring out the flow again. And yeah, 2 hours. I think you guys are going to have to keep me out of some podcasts or shut me off, because I like to talk. And when there's this many good players to talk about, it's hard for me to kind of tone it down and not go in on guys, because they deserve it, man. These guys, like, some of the best uncommitted players in the country, and with what they did, they deserve the recognition and they deserve the love from the coaches. And I just hope they all, like, keep a level head on their shoulders and continue to work, because it's great to be a future gamer. Like, that's awesome. Okay, it's an indicator that you're really good at baseball right now at your age, but it does not guarantee success for down the road. So just hopefully these guys are continuing to work and handling these conversations they're having with these coaches, as professional as they can, and being as honest and open as they can. And it hopefully too, like, not stressing out about the process. Like, I feel like so many good players, so many guys that come to the future games, it gets overwhelming, and it creates a level of stress to these guys, Gav. So hopefully they enjoy it. And if they're good right now, and that many schools want them right now, and they're going to continue to work and get better, you got to continue to bet on yourself. And don't let a school, pressure you into a decision you're not necessarily comfortable with, or whatever it may be, and weigh all your options. Good luck to those, 26s that were at the senior future games, and the 27s that are hopefully getting a ton of attention right now.
Yeah, well, appreciate you guys bearing with us here this past 2 months, really not having an episode, but planning on really fully getting back into it each week, doing a Wednesday episode. Like I said, next week we'll probably be talking about the Illinois State games. Following that, we'll have some JUCO stuff to talk about. Before you know it, it's going to be All-American game, Puma Classic, hopefully some coach interviews again, maybe some player interviews. I think we got a lot in the pipeline to come up, but we'll try and get back on that regular schedule.
Next couple weeks, just pay attention to. We'll have some rankings released kind of from the summer, some big updates. So I know that's a big thing for us. Hammett was kind of saying at the start that we can breathe a little bit now, and he's totally right. Like, once players go back to school, it does allow us to not then have those midweek, events and tournaments that are bogging us down. And now we can kind of look through everything we saw in the summer and try to do the best that we can with placing these guys in the rankings.
Yeah. Well, that is a wrap on episode 35. As always, we appreciate you guys listening. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Apple and Spotify podcasts. We will
Click
see you
that
guys
button.
next week.
Click subscribe. Let's go. Boost us up.